What's good, everybody? It's The Dime with Josh and Kwab. We would appreciate it if you clicked the subscribe button, if you put notifications on, as we are a growing NBA YouTube channel. We will dissect almost everything about the playoffs. We make no guarantees, but you know
You
what?
make
It's
no
going to be a
guarantees.
freaking good time. Make sure you hit the subscribe button below. Enjoy the episode. All right, it's an NBA playoff preview next on The Dime.
You are now listening to The Dime with Josh and Kwab, your go-to NBA podcast. Subscribe on Apple, follow on Spotify, and be sure to hit up the YouTube channel for video content. And now your hosts, Josh and Kwab.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to The Dime. Today, we give our predictions for the Eastern Conference. Today, we give our predictions for the Western Conference. Today, we tell you who we think is going to win the NBA championship, and we go pole dancing for your predictions as well. As always, if you want to follow The Dime, you can on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, at The Dime NBA. I'm Josh Rodriguez, at Josh_Rodriguez_. He is Kwab, at Kwab, a.k.a. Yes, Kwab. What is good, homie? How are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you feeling? Because it's playoff time, and so it's Knicks playoff time for you. So
It's bittersweet because I do think the Knicks have a chance to do some damage in the playoffs this year, but also, no Julius Randle, I think, puts a ceiling on the Knicks, and that makes me sad because this was a season, especially after they traded for OG, where I'm like, oh, there's no ceiling for this team. They can go to the finals. Winning the finals, probably not. Going to the finals, yeah, I thought they could, but now it's like, I don't know. Speaking of the Knicks and Sixers, let's get into it. Quab
look at the transition. Look at the transition.
Series preview. Now, the Knicks have beaten the Sixers 3-1 this year. I was at one of the games. It was an absolute ass beating. It was one of the best nights of my life. So I'm definitely looking forward to this as a New Yorker. We hate Philadelphia sports. Philadelphia sports hates us as well. Personally, I think this series comes down to whether or not Joel Embiid is healthy. And he didn't look healthy to me against Miami. He didn't, he's been back for a little bit now. I think maybe 7 so games. The Sixers are coming into the series as one of the hottest teams in the league. The Knicks, on the other hand, just got healthy or healthier as well with OG coming back. They are 20-3 with him in the lineup, which is a ridiculous record. So it's a weird series with two teams that are just kind of getting healthy, two teams whose record, let's be honest, have suffered because of a lack of health. The Sixers are not a 7 seed. They're not. I think the Sixers are a top 3 team in the East, if I'm being completely honest with you. This feels more like a second round series than it does a first round series, but it is what it is. We're here. Kwab, how healthy do you think Embiid is, and how much of a factor do you think that plays in this series?
You asking me how healthy Embiid is during the playoffs?
Yeah, I'm asking you, man. Give me the
How
doctor reports. What have you seen in the hospital room?
full disclosure, this is for all my friends that are Philly fans. I didn't have you guys win in the play, and I didn't. Sorry, just because I'm surprised
We
you
got
guys
roasted.
won. Yeah, I'm
We got
surprised you
roasted a
guys
little
won.
bit.
Yeah, which is fine. Like
Yeah.
I'm surprised you guys won the
It's
game.
okay.
Like I expected the Heat to beat y'all, but watching that game, not that Embiid didn't even look healthy. He didn't look in shape. Like he was gassed
Right.
from like the first quarter. This was part of the reason why I didn't have the Sixers even winning the play-in. But thanks to Nick Batum, who fourth quarter who let Batum in, went crazy.
That's why Batum is in, baby.
That's why Batum's in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, also, I think a lot of credit has to go to Nick Nurse and just being able to adjust to like the Heat zone.
Yeah.
And helping them like move forward just to get better shots and move the ball and make adjustments on defense. I think that's going to be a big thing moving forward in the matchup against the Knicks. But to your original question, I don't think he's healthy. I just wish, and this is like because I just want teams to be healthy. I wish the Knicks were fully healthy. I wish the Sixers
Yeah.
were fully healthy. It will be a great series, but I don't think he's healthy. He might, because of that, I think he'll have games where he might look a little bit dominant, but then he'll have games where like he looked the past game where like, yeah, he'll have 20 points, 15 rebounds or whatever it is, but he'll look like he's like running through mud and just struggling the whole time. So I don't think personally he's healthy. I think, but I think he wants to come back to help his team win because he feels like they have a chance.
Yeah, I give Embiid a lot of credit for coming back. I don't think he's fully healthy as well. He's definitely not in shape. And for me as a Knicks fan, it may sound like I'm being biased here, but Now, Isaiah Hartenstein has been playing fantastic defense all season. A lot of people don't realize that. A lot of the national media doesn't realize that. When they talk about Isaiah Hartenstein, they kind of talk about him like he's a tryhard, which he is. Like he's a hustle guy. He gets a lot of offensive boards, but he's been protecting the rim. I wouldn't say at an elite level, but at a top tier level for sure. And then you get Mitchell Robinson back, so you have another rim protector there. I know Embiid has a little bit of perimeter game as well, but my point is that the Knicks have the bodies. They have the bodies to combat Embiid, and especially if he's not healthy, he doesn't scare me as much. You don't have to help out, with Hartenstein or Mitchell Robinson if they're guarding him in ISO or one on one. Yeah, Embiid's going to get his. I'm not saying that Eichhart's going to shut him down. I'm not saying that Mitch is going to shut him down, but Embiid's going to work, and he's also going to work on the defensive end as well because these guys are going to crash the glass. So for me, this series without Julius does depend. I wouldn't say 100% on the health of Joel Embiid, but you'll see later when we have our predictions, like my predictions solely because I just don't think Embiid he's that healthy. He's questionable for game one. Say what you want. That could be a ruse. That could just be like a, whatever, toss it out there. But I do think there's some seriousness to it where it's like, hey, this guy's not 100%. And if he's 70, 80%, whatever he is, I don't know if that's going to be good enough to beat a Knicks team where, yeah, they may not be as talented, but these guys crash the boards. These guys are physical. Outside of the Miami Heat, I don't know another team that's as physical as the New York Knicks. And I think it's going to be a long series for Embiid. I think he'll be okay, but I don't think he's going to be the dominant MVP who can win a series by himself. Speaking that as well, a lot of criticism about the New York Knicks is that all they have is Jalen Brunson on the offensive end. Kwab, do you think they have enough offensively in the half court to overcome whatever shortcomings they might have in this series? Or do you think it's going to be just Jalen on an island and he's going to have to create everything?
I think I think that Jalen is gonna get blitz. Like he's gonna see a lot of like double teams or weird coverages because that's what Nick Nurse does.
Yeah.
So you're gonna need Josh Hart's to step up. You're gonna need Dante to step up. You're gonna need OG to step up. And that's gonna again. I'm gonna get in a little bit more detail when we talk about X factors in this series. But do they have enough to win this series? Yes, I feel like they do. Just because again, it comes back to your first question because I feel like Embiid is not healthy, and I think that's just a big factor. Also, defensively, you have one of the best perimeter defensive teams where I feel like they can easily match up with the Maxis and apparently Nick Batum, Tobias Harris, Kelly Oubre. So those perimeter players are going to see very active defenders on the floor. So that could be a lot of trouble for them. So I do feel like the Knicks have enough to win this series just because, again, Embiid is not healthy.
Yeah, I mean, offensively, the Knicks do rely a lot on Jalen Brunson, that's for sure. But when OG's in, it is a little different because you can't necessarily trap or double Brunson in the way that you want to, because OG's gonna be chilling in the corner. I think it's a very dangerous game for teams to play to give Josh Hart or Isaiah Hartenstein the ball in the short roll situation with a 4-3 advantage. Now I know Josh Hart has to shoot the ball, but he's not going to shoot the ball if you give him a 4-3 advantage, right? So if you're blitzing Brunson, that's two defenders out the way. Josh Hart or Hartenstein get the ball. Both are very good passers. And then you have DiVincenzo or OG on the wing. You have McBride on the wing. You have Bogdanovich on the wing. They're surrounding Jalen Brunson with shooters now. I think Nick Nurse, I understand why you would want to blitz Brunson. I understand why you would want to trap him on the pick and roll, but I don't think that's the way to go. I think what's going to end up happening is the Sixers are going to fall into some sort of zone by the end of game one or game two, maybe even come out of it. Who knows how they play it? And the whoever's going to win this series is going to be determined by whether or not the Knicks break that zone. Because I don't think trapping or blitzing Jalen Brunson with OG and Anunoby on the court is the way to go. So to me, that's the biggest thing that I'm looking out for as well. I do think the Knicks have enough offensively in the half court. They have shooters. It's not like last year where they were relying on like Julius or RJ Barrett to hit a three. Grimes struggled to hit the three in the playoffs. Quickly was awful. They have shooters now. And I think a lot of people, especially nationally, they watched the game against the Lakers where he was doubled and they saw how much the Knicks struggled. And then you don't really watch the Knicks for the rest of the year and you think that's what it is, but it's not what it is. They've been killing people off the trap lately. So I'm confident the Knicks do have enough in the half court. I do think that's going to be their demise later in the playoffs, but I don't think it's going to be this series. We talked about the X factors, Kwab. Anybody in particular on either team, could be 1, 2, whatever, who you think is an X factor going into this series?
I think the X factor for the Knicks is the wing room, and I mean that all the wings they have. That is their X
Yeah.
factor. That is the X factor to me, because I think that's gonna be so big for them in winning this series. Like you just broke down about how much they surround Brunson with better shooting, better scoring, and just better activity. Like we've watched games together where like you're like you don't feel like anytime Dante shoots he's gonna miss, like because
Yeah.
he's just having a ridiculous year. All that is gonna be needed, and not just saying just not this series, just even moving forward if they win the series. So yeah, to me that X factor for the Knicks is the ring room, and for the Sixers, their X factor is B-ball Paul, because he said this is what he wanted. So I get, yeah, he's the what what up, Paul Reed? I think yeah, so he's an X factor because this is the series he wanted. So
My X factor is Deuce McBride. I think on both ends of the ball here. I think offensively, it's obvious. Are you going to hit your threes? If you can hit your threes and you can spread the defense out, that's going to be obvious. But I do think his point of attack defense on Tyrese Maxey is huge in this series. I think where the Knicks could go wrong with this is thinking that Embiid is the end all be all when it comes to stopping the Sixers, because he's not. If Tyrese Maxey can get into the paint and create for others and give you headaches, this could be a long series for the Knicks. One of the reasons why I'm so confident in the Knicks in this series is because they do have point of attack defenders who I think can contain Tyrese Maxey at least a little bit, in Deuce, in OG Anunoby. I'm not saying Josh Hart will shut him down, but he can be annoying. DiVincenzo can be annoying. Maxey is quicker than most of those guys, and I do expect Maxey to get his as well, but I do think the Knicks defenders will make it hell for him. I just like the matchups here for the Knicks, and giving my series predictions, that's where we're going now. I'm going to take the Knicks in 6 here. A lot of it is because Embiid is not healthy to me. If Embiid was 100%, I don't know how I would feel about this matchup, being completely objective, but I don't think that he's 100%. I don't think he's in shape. And just the way that these two teams play, their DNA, the Knicks are a tougher team. The Knicks crash the board harder. The Knicks are a better defensive team. I just think the Knicks are better suited for a playoff series. That's going to be a grinded out, physical, punch you in the mouth type series, especially when the best player on the other team isn't what he is right now. He isn't the MVP that we know him to be. So just because of the health of the Sixers, because I trust the Knicks' identity and DNA more, I'm going to go with the Knicks in 6. Kwab, what do you got?
As a Nets fan, I hope both teams lose. And, but no, I also have the Knicks in 6, and really, it comes down to the same reasons you gave. Health reasons for the Sixers, and how we feel like how much improved the Knicks have looked throughout the course of the year. Also, again, back to the people and my friends and people I know who are like Sixers fans. I watched y'all in the first half basically curse out and crucify Tobias Harris. Like I was there. Okay, I saw. I saw the tweets. I saw the texts. I saw y'all. Stop hating on my man. He's doing his best, people. He's trying.
He's
Okay?
trying.
He's
Guys,
trying.
he's trying, okay?
He's trying. Okay, but
leave him alone. Leave Tobias alone. You're going to need him. You're going to need Tobias.
You're going to need him.
If Tobias doesn't play well, you're not winning. We haven't mentioned Tobias Harris, but Tobias Harris to me is an X factor for Philadelphia.
Yeah.
If Tobias Harris can be Tobias Harris, that's a good Tobias Harris. Yeah, then maybe the Sixers can pull this off.
Exactly.
Stop. You know what? Continue to boo him. I want you to boo him. Do it. Do it. Go ahead. Also, the Knicks missing 2 free throws and y'all going crazy for chicken isn't going to change a game this series. just letting it be known.
It's lit.
And if it does, leave your information below. I will personally buy you a $25 gift card to Chick-fil-A.
Yo.
There we go. There we go. Let's move on to the Bucks-Pacers series. Giannis is injured. They don't know how long he's going to be out for. It looks like he's going to miss maybe 1 or 2 games, maybe more. Who the hell knows? Kwab, straight up, do the Bucks need Giannis to win this series?
Yes.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
Yeah, you do.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
You do.
Yes. The Bucks
because the Pacers have torched you all season, bro.
All season. All season.
That's really what it is. Let's just face the facts, man. This is a bad matchup for the Bucks. This is a nightmare matchup for the Bucks. I was at the play-in tournament in Vegas, and I watched Tyrese Haliburton run laps around this team. Now, he hasn't been the same since his hamstring injury, so I don't know what Tyrese Haliburton we're going to get, but I do think barring Patrick Beverley defensive
Let's
masterclass,
go.
I don't know how the Bucks are going to stop this team in general because Miles Turner, now God bless his soul, sometimes he takes some threes I don't think he should be taking. He's very streaky, but I do think him pulling Brook Lopez away from the rim is I'm going to skip to this right now. Is kind of my X factor for the series, right? If Miles
Okay.
Turner's hitting his three and Brook Lopez has to, back away from the paint and not protect the rim, and Haliburton is doing what he wants with whoever he wants, like he did during the season. It's going to be a long series stopping the Pacers this series. I don't think we know that Dame can't guard him. We know he can't guard him in the pick and roll. Malik Beasley can't guard him. Patrick Beverley's like the last man
Hey,
in
man, look.
line, last man standing. If he gives Beverley problems, man, I don't know how this is going to end up. Adding Pascal Siakam, I'm not really sure how Bobby Portis is going to be guarding Siakam. I don't know how he's going to guard him in the pick and roll. I do think Bobby can body him, in the paint, but on the outside, I'm not really sure. I feel like Siakam could take him off the dribble. On the other side of the ball, where you don't have Giannis, you don't have that gravity, you don't have that pick and roll game. You do have the ISO game with Middleton. The Pacers are trash defensively. That is true. I'm not really worried about Milwaukee scoring the basketball. I'm just worried about Milwaukee not being able to stop Indiana from doing anything because they haven't stopped them from doing anything all season. And I
Do
don't know
you,
what's going to change here because it's
do
not
you
in their identity so far that leads me to believe that they can change. And that, there's another team out there that has a bad matchup we'll talk about later in the Western Conference. And I have the exact opposite position because their DNA all year has shown that they're a defensive minded team. Whereas Milwaukee, man, I just don't trust y'all, especially without Giannis. I do not trust y'all at all,
do you
bro.
do you think they have? Do you think Milwaukee has enough offense without Giannis to
Yeah, I do.
win the
I
series?
do.
Just because we were talking about how bad the Pacers are on defense, they give up a lot of points. Not as much as the Hawks, but like they give up a lot of
Yeah.
points.
Yeah, I mean, Dame is always good. I know Dame has had a down year shooting basketball, but Dame is still Dame. Brook Lopez can still hit the three. I think Bobby Portis, people laugh, but Portis can put the ball in the hoop. Chris Middleton, to me, is still one of the best ISO players in the league if he's healthy. So I do think they can score the basketball. I don't really trust the Pacers to actually come up with a defensive scheme to stop them. I mean, they don't really have the people on defense to even, or the personnel to really stop anyone on that end, if I'm being honest with you. So I do think it's gonna be a high scoring game each game, but I just don't trust the Bucks. I don't trust the vibe. The vibe feels off. I think the Pacers are going into this series with all the confidence in the world based off of how they played against them all year. And yeah, without Giannis, man, I'm picking the Pacers. I think with Giannis in the lineup, it's different, right? Because now you can match up differently defensively. Brook Lopez is not the only person protecting the rim. You're going to have to guard the pick and roll on the other end. Giannis can just, straight bulldoze his way, and you can get a bucket at any time, really. I think it changes the series a little bit in the sense where I do think the game gets more physical and buckled down. I think that favors the Bucks, but without Giannis, man, I don't like them in this series at all.
To me, when it comes to Pacers, I think moving forward, like their X factor is to me is TJ McConnell. Just
TJ,
I
let's
just
go.
I just like TJ's. I like the fact that you have a point guard that can come off the bench that's like very consistent, just does his job, doesn't mess up, like gets extra possessions with crafty steals. Everybody knows he wants to get it to his mid range or layup, and he does it every time. Like it just
Yeah.
becomes unstoppable. Like he's very consistent in that fact. And when it comes to the Bucks, you mentioned I think to me all the X factors that they need in order to like if they have a chance to move on, which is like a Bobby Portis, a healthy Chris Middleton. That's gonna be big for them. Like if Chris Middleton is healthy, it could swing the games a little bit, but my main X factor is Patrick Beverley,
Okay.
just because I want to see what he's gonna do during during the playoffs. 'Cause
I just want to see if you can just shoot somebody on court.
just you know what I mean. Just
Sure,
I
he can
just
play
want
defense.
to no,
He's gonna hit somebody.
he's gonna hit just because they later on in the year they've been starting Pat Beverly with Dame just to have
Yeah.
another defensive guard on the floor. And it's been kind of working, but it's just to me, it's always been a problem when we're talking about the Bucks in previous episodes. We're like, it's not really the coaching, it's the personnel. They after they let go of Drew, they lost Grayson Allen. It just felt like their perimeter defense has just suffered so much, and they were based
Yeah.
on perimeter defense. So yeah, moving forward, I also have the Pacers winning this series. I'm gonna enjoy. I think this will be an enjoyable series. Some of the games might be closer than we think just because the Pacers are so bad defensively. But I have the Pacers winning this series.
Yeah, I had the Pacers in 6 as well. This is assuming Giannis doesn't come back or Giannis doesn't come back in time or Giannis comes back and he's not Giannis, kind of like he was last year against the Heat, which is unfortunate for the Bucks because that would be 2 years in a row. You lose in the first round when you have championship aspirations with Giannis on the bench or sideline because he's hurt. So that's got to be really frustrating for Bucks fans. Yeah, I mean, I could be wrong. We could be wrong. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I just have no faith in the Bucks. I have zero faith in the Bucks.
Hey,
None
we've
whatsoever.
been wrong before. We'll be wrong again. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Yeah.
We'll own it. We'll
No,
own it.
I don't care. Like,
All right, moving on to the other series in the East. It's the Cavs and Magic. I don't have a lot of opinions on this one,
come on.
if I'm being honest with you, Kwab. My question to you, though, is what Cavs team do you think is going to show up? Is it going to be like that team that went on a ridiculous run in the second half of the season to start the second half of the season, or more of the team that we see lately, which is the more Fugazi type of team?
I don't know.
We have no idea.
I have no idea. I look. No, because it's the Cavs. The Cavs have been very interesting all year. Like even with their injuries, they were on a winning streak, like making a run
Yeah.
when they were down guards and I think Evan Mobley. They were still winning. It's just I don't know if this is a good matchup for them. Just because the Magic, even though they lack perimeter shooting, are a really good young defensive team, and they don't care if they'll slug it out with you for the whole game. Like
Yeah.
they don't care. They'll slug it out with you the whole game, and they have talent with Paulo, with Wagner, and they also have big defensive pieces with Suggs, who should be an all team defensive player. And your best defenders, Jonathan Isaac, who they might stick on Mitchell, and
Yeah.
he's had a great year when he's played because of health issues. He's been inconsistent, but he's defensively he's a juggernaut on the court, and he's moving forward. That's my X factor for the Magic is Isaac, because I feel like he's gonna give problems to either Mitchell or Garland or whoever they put him on, and he's
Yeah.
gonna turn off their water. So I I don't know. I don't know which Cavs team is gonna show up. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know either, man, because I think of the Cavs, and maybe because I'm a Knicks fan, I think of last year where it's just like them getting absolutely bullied in the playoffs last year. And, your team, that is young and you're a team that's talented, maybe you learn from
Yeah.
that. Who knows? You had Max Strus, you had shooting. So it is kind of like, all right, well, you're a little bit of a different team. You learn from your mistakes. You had this hot run in the second half. So maybe this is a different team, but I don't know if it's a different team. I don't think the Magic are a type of team you could kind of just like finesse through.
Yeah.
As a Knicks fan, when I thought about the possibility of facing the Magic, I was confident they would beat them, but it was like one of those, oh my God,
Yeah.
these guys, like a excruciating 6-game, maybe 7-game series if Paolo, depending on, what he does. And to me, if I'm a Magic fan, the only thing I'm really concerned about is like half court offense, right? Is Paolo going to be efficient? How are you going to score the basketball when things get tight, when things get really physical? I trust, a Donovan Mitchell, a Darius Garland more than I trust Apollo right now. And that has no disrespect. He's just, he's just really early in his career. He's not that efficient right now. The playoffs are more physical. It is different. They're letting things go now. So for me, even though I don't know what Cavs team is going to show up, for some reason, I'm a little more comfortable with the Cavs here. The Magic to me, if they're going to win the series, I think it's possible. But my X factor is Jalen Suggs. You kind of alluded to it. If you were to like the Magic win the series if blank, I would say if Jalen Suggs outplays Darius Garland. I think that's a huge matchup there. I think if Suggs can kind of contain Garland, you have Donovan and Garland if they don't have that 1-2 punch going. I'm not saying it's gonna be difficult for the Cavs to score, but that's when the Cavs are really dangerous to me. Jalen Suggs is a great defensive point guard, and then he can, he's no slouch on the offensive end either. He's not all pro, but he can put up points. He's a fantastic passer, in my opinion, at least. We saw that more in college than now, but I still think he's a really good passer and playmaker. So, I just for some reason, I'll give you my series prediction here. I'm taking the Cavs in 6. I just don't trust the Magic to generate as much offense as they need to win 4 games.
Hmm.
I do think they're going to give the Cavs problems on the other end of the ball. Jonathan Isaac, again, like you said, very good defensively. They're just a very good defensive team, but they don't really shoot the ball well. And I think that's going to come back to haunt them. I don't think you just turn it on in the playoffs unless you're the Miami Heat of last year. I don't want to talk about it. And the Magic aren't that. So I'm going to go to the Cavs in 6 in a very ugly, very disgusting, very yeah, let's put every single game on NBA TV and hide this one type of series.
They did, and they did. I think they did. They got the early games. They got
I know.
Crazy. Do you, in your mind, do you have any X factors on the Cavs?
My X factor on the Cavs would probably be Max Strus.
Same.
3-point shooter, someone who you got in the offseason because you're like, this is what we needed to beat the Knicks. We didn't have this, and now we have this. I think the Magic, it wouldn't. To be honest with you, I don't think they're going to help much off of Garland and Mitchell. I think they're going to trust their defensive players as much as they possibly can. I don't think there's going to be any schemes where it's just kind of like, let's be tricky and try to discuss. No, I think the Magic are going to straight up you versus me. And I think a lot of what's going to happen is if Donovan or Darius do get by their man, I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for the Cavs 3-point shooters to make some plays. And Strus is the first person I think of. So that's what I'm going to go with.
That's a good call. Yeah, I think I also had the Cavs winning the series just because.
Okay.
I want to believe just they've learned from the past year of when they went through getting mollywopped by the Knicks, and like you said, they added some shooting. Still have Mitchell, still have Garland, still have 2 all-star caliber big men on the roster. So I feel like they should be able to pull it off. I think I had them originally winning in 6. I think it might go 7, honestly. I think it's gonna be like you said. So it's the game where they're kind of just hiding, but I think the series actually might be very interesting. I want to see how Paolo is gonna look. Paolo and actually Wagner also, how they're gonna look in your first playoff series. How they're gonna. Because we said it's called differently in the playoffs. It's more physical. Not a lot of fouls are called, but the Magic like to play like they like to play in the mud. They don't care. They'll be aggressive. Even though they're young players, they talk a lot of trash. They get in players' faces. They play hard. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Magic won the series. Actually, I kind of hope they do, just so to see what happens with Mitchell.
I'll be rooting for the Magic, and I wouldn't surprise me if they win it either.
Yeah,
like I'm not gonna be like, how'd that happen? Like,
it's not gonna be a shock.
Yeah. Oh, the Cavs ended up being the Cavs again. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
that's what it's gonna be.
It's not gonna shock me, but I do have the Cavs winning the series I'll say in 7.
All right, so Cavs in 7. So before we go to the Western Conference, just one quick note: the Heat are up 30 right now against the Bulls. So
Heat culture.
It's gonna be a Celtics Heat series. I'm not gonna dissect that right now because I don't have any notes or I even thought about it. But my early indication, without Jimmy Butler, I don't think the Heat get a game. If I'm being completely honest with you, but out of respect to Heat culture, Kwab, I'm gonna say Celtics in 5.
Heat in 7. Full disclosure, guys. Full disclosure, guys.
Yeah.
I was really hoping that the Heat would win the first playing game, so they'll match up with the Knicks, just so I could troll Josh for hours on hours, and just during the course of a game against the Knicks, I'll just be texting him random players. I'm like, hey, you guys really can't stop Patty Mills, bro. And I know he's so happy that he lost.
If the Heat matched up with the Knicks and beat the Knicks again, I don't know what I would do.
Yeah,
I genuinely don't know what I would do as a fan. I mean, I'm someone, I don't live and die with my teams. I love my teams. I love the Knicks. I will root hard for the Knicks. But once the game's over, I'm good. I detach myself. It doesn't affect my life. Like, I don't carry it over into, like, my friendships or my relationship or anything. I don't. I'm not that type of person who, like, lets the Knicks losing affect my mood. It's I root for the team hard. I'm in it when I'm in it, and then I'm done. But if the Knicks would have lost to the Heat again, I don't know if I wouldn't have reverted back to being 14 years old. If I'll be
Fair,
honest with
fair,
you. It just might have happened. I don't know. All right, let's move on to the Western Conference, starting with the Nuggets and Lakers. Kwab, is there any indication that this year will be different than last year?
No. Uh, no. Okay,
No,
okay,
why
good.
would there be?
No, okay, okay. I feel like, and we're gonna have our predictions at the end of the segment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think the Lakers will get swept this uh this time around. But the Nuggets are just hard to beat. Like, and
Yeah.
just not by the like, you just are. They have the perfect starting five. They're consistent. Jokic is incredible. Like, I don't know. I don't see a way that the Lakers can beat them 4 games. I don't know. It's a like again, it's a possibility, but I don't think it's happening. I don't know.
So
I don't
if I
think.
were to ask you, Kwab, if I were to ask,
Mhm.
sorry to cut you off, if I were to ask
Yeah,
you, in order for the Lakers to beat the Nuggets, blank has to happen. What would blank be?
I got you. I got you. Exactly what happened. This is what have to happen. Michael Porter Jr.'s brother would have to implicate Jokic in the gambling ring that happened just previously. Jokic gets suspended for
Okay.
the playoffs. No
Okay.
Jokic. So
Right.
yeah. So now it's a easy going. That's how I feel like that's the year. So please send in your reports if you guys have it. I know Lakers. I've seen a bunch of fake like stuff about, oh man, people putting that. I think that's the only way. I don't. Apart from that, I don't know. It's not really a good matchup for the Lakers. I
Yeah.
saw some people make the suggestion that because there's no Bruce Brown this year, uh,
Oh,
that means
please.
that D'Angelo Russell should have a better series because he doesn't have Bruce Brown hounding him. Sure, you can go with that verse if you want. I'm not going to go with that. I'm not going to go with those bars. I just feel like it's a tough matchup for the Lakers. Um, Even if they go with the game plan they've been going the past previous times when they play and when they put Rui on Jokic and have AD kind of just hounding
That was
around.
supposed to change after game one. That was supposed to change the whole series, and
Yeah,
they
I'm
didn't win
saying,
a single game after that.
and all that aside, like the crazy thing about it, you could play the most perfect defense
Yeah.
on Jokic and the Nuggets, and Jokic will look you dead in the eye, put the ball behind his head, splash 3, or like there's a couple games I was watching all the time when they play the Lakers. Jokic really literally dribbled the ball and he threw it off the backboard, and Aaron Gordon came out of nowhere and dunked it, and they were like, "Oh yeah, that's a set play." I I don't you in order for the Lakers to win, I feel like they need a consistent AD
Yes.
and like a consistent healthy AD. They need LeBron at 50, still being LeBron, still putting up
Bro,
these numbers.
LeBron's been insane, like, in the
Insane.
second like, absolutely, like, just
It makes no
like,
it makes no sense.
I've run out of stuff. I know people get sick about, people talking about LeBron and how good he is, but it just has to be said how insane his second half of the year has been. I think he's averaging 20 some like 26, 10, and 8. Like, that's off the top of my head in the last, like, 30 or something games, like, something insane. I helped produce a show called Hoops Tonight. Shout out to Jason Tim. If you guys are basketball fans, that's a fantastic podcast to listen to. I'm not just saying 'cause I'm a part of it, but he gives, like, film breakdowns and everything. So I'm getting that stat off the top of my head from that show.
Mhm.
Might be a little off, but the general vibe of that is that. And man, like, he's just he for me, the way I look at this series, I think this series is going 6. Last year they got swept.
Mm.
The Lakers are a better three-point shooter team this year. Once Darvin Ham decided to play the right people. It's a whole nother story. So they're a better three-point shooting team. They do well in the paint. Now, I think some of this is going to be negated because Jokic just owns Anthony Davis, and I'm comfortable saying that based off how Jokic played last year against Anthony Davis and how Anthony Davis played against Jokic last year. So I think a lot of those points in the paint stats are not going to be as prevalent as they have been for the Lakers this year, but they are a better team this year. To me, the X factor is D'Angelo Russell. He was awful last year. I think Bruce Brown being gone doesn't mean that he's going to have a good series, but I do think in order for the Lakers to win, two things has to happen. Jokic has to die, and D'Angelo Russell has to have a good series. And I think it's very, I think
That took me a hot second.
I think it's possible. Let me
That's
cook.
not
Let me
funny.
cook.
I shouldn't laugh at that. That's not funny, bro. You can't make that joke. That's not funny, bro. You got.
I'm just saying, like,
Oh my god,
I'm
bro.
just
That's
saying.
not
I think
funny.
I think Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell have to have a combined great series, and I mean great series.
Great
And
series,
and
yes.
D'Lo has shown like he can get hot. D'Lo can win you a game.
D'Lo
D'Lo
can
himself
definitely
can
win
win.
you. D'Lo can
He
win
can
you a
also
game.
lose you a game. He can also lose
But
you a game, but he can
but
win you
he
a
was
game as
like,
well.
but even the playing game against the Pelicans, you could tell he was on one when the game started. Like he was talking,
Yeah,
hitting shots. Like
yeah.
they
So
need that
like,
aggressive. They need that, and they need something. They need something from the bench. They need
right,
like if it's Gabe
yeah,
Vincent to revert back to his Miami days,
right,
Spencer to revert back to like when he was good on the Mavs.
yeah.
Just something like Torian
But
Prince
what
to
you
be
said,
the Torian Prince to
yeah.
be whoever Darvin Ham thinks he is. Like just that. Like they need something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and to your point too, I think AD has to be AD. You know,
yep.
I don't think he can body Jokic down low like he bodies other people. He's gonna have to rely on and this goes back to Jason Timpf again. I mean, he said it and I agree with this. So I'm just repeating it, but it goes back to floaters in the lane. You know, it goes back to like these short rolled pull ups that he's gonna have to hit this series. He just is. He's gonna have to be. He's gonna have to be the Anthony Davis that I thought he was when they won the championship their first year, what I thought he was when he got traded to the Lakers. He's gonna have to be that Anthony Davis. Without that Anthony Davis, for like what we're saying doesn't even
It doesn't matter.
matter.
It doesn't matter.
D'Lo
Yeah.
going on doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So Anthony Davis to me is probably the most important Laker outside of LeBron in this series, and I think he's gonna play okay, but I do think the Nuggets are the Nuggets. They're the better team. I think the Lakers do get a game in Denver, and they get a game in LA. I'm gonna say the Lakers in 6, and I think that's probably as
You mean
much as you can give them.
the Nuggets in 6. You
Sorry,
said
sorry, sorry. The Nuggets, yes. My God, please don't clip that. The Nuggets in 6. I'm gonna go with the Nuggets in 6. And what do you have, Kwab?
same. I think I have the same Nuggets in 6. I also we've talked about all these players. We haven't even mentioned Jamal Murray. Like the Lakers got killed by Jamal Murray
Yeah,
last year, and he's still with the way when him and Jokic played the 2-man game with the handoffs, it's impossible to guard. Like I don't know who's going to end up matching.
yeah.
Maybe it's Reeves. I don't know, but it's just it's a tough matchup for the Lakers. So I
It's a
have the Nuggets
tough
in
match for
6.
anybody. Like you
Yeah,
said,
for
they're the
any
perfect
fact.
starting lineup.
Yep,
It's
facts.
the perfect starting lineup. Whatever you want, I got it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We got the best corner shooter in the league, and Michael Porter Jr., KCP is also 3-and-D, Aaron Gordon rolling through. Like it's just, and they all share the basketball. It's like,
Just
you know, it's not a knock on
works.
the Lakers. The Nuggets are just the best team in the league. That's it. It is what it is. So there ain't no shame in it. All right, Quab, let's move on to the Clippers and Mavericks. Before we started this podcast, it did come out that Kawhi is rumored to probably miss game 1, possibly game 2, changing my idea how this series was going to go. I didn't know how healthy he would be in general, but Kawhi, I still have massive respect for him when he's on the court. So it kind of changes my idea of what this series is going to be like. I don't think the Clippers can win without him. I think the Mavs are too hot. I think they figured something out here. I don't like the matchups that, you know, are going to be on the court with Kawhi out. I do think they're going to need Kawhi to at least contain Luka, to at least make Luka think a little more or call for ball screens and not go ISO and rely on teammates and put the pressure on other people on the team. Without that, I know you could put Paul George on Luka, but Paul George, I don't think can stay in front of Luka in the way that Kawhi can, or at least dominate that matchup. I'm not saying that Kawhi would dominate Luka, but he would. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
Kawhi's when he's 100%, he's could be the best defender in the league.
Yeah.
So I think that changes everything, man. Do you think the Clippers can win without Kawhi?
This series, no, not this series. I just feel like, and maybe I'm being a prisoner of the moment. Watching how well the Mavs have played since they made the trades, but they've looked really good. Like
Yeah, they
Luka's
have.
Luka's vaulted himself into the MVP conversation again. Kyrie still Kyrie. They're again consistent play from their bigs and your wings, like defensively and offensively. So it's like you said, it looks like they figured out how they want to play, and it's been working. On the Clippers side, it's just you run into the same old thing. It's like, is what James Harden are you gonna get? and
Yeah.
it's like you still you're hoping you get the playoff. I don't want to make a joke about it. You get the playoff P. You get the Paul George who was able to help the Clippers win series when Kawhi was out previous years. You're hoping you get that, but you're gonna need a little more from everybody else, from like the Norman Powells and your favorite player Russell Westbrook, like, and Terrence Mann. Like,
I
I had
hate
to throw
you.
that in there. That's my X
I
factor, by
hate
the way.
you.
Westbrook is probably going to be my X factor.
Is he?
Um,
Okay.
yeah, because I just feel like he's going to be my X factor for the Clippers, just because him coming off the bench and just up in the tempo, they're gonna need something. Like, again, the Clippers go through moments where like there's no energy, like they're kind of stalling out, and you bring in that chaotic demon that is Russell Westbrook. He's gonna like who and like Ty Lue puts him in the best positions. Like, yo, just go. Like, he gets easy points. He gets extra possessions with his rebounding. He's gonna get assists. I yeah, I think I had the Mavs in 7, and this was before the Kawhi news, because I just felt like it was gonna be just a back and forth, and maybe the Mavs would be able to just pull it out. But hearing the Kawhi news now, again, I feel sorry for him because it's not like he doesn't want to play. Like, he wants to
Yeah.
play. He wants to play. Like, he just catches these terrible injuries at the worst times. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think the Clippers have enough to win this series.
Yeah, I originally had the Clippers in 7 as well. That was my original pick for everybody. I actually had our graphic designer Clement just change it for our social media asset that's gonna drop. Uh, my X factor is Dante Exum. I think he's
Dante,
somebody who can help, yeah, who can help the Mavs on both sides of the basketball. I mean, he's having a career year, really.
yo,
And shout out to him. He's somebody who struggled when he was first drafted. I left the league, came back, and he's been a very vital part for this team all year. And, I think he's somebody who he's someone like, I'm not saying their games are the same, but someone who reminds you like Josh Hart, where it's like the impact that they have, where it's like, I'm here to fuck shit up.
yo,
Like I'm just gonna that's what I do. So I think Dante Exum's the X factor. I do think, if Kawhi was playing, I would feel a little differently about this because I do think they would have the defensive versatility to guard Luka, to guard Kyrie, and the Mavs. The problem I have with the Mavs, I think they get a little ISO heavy, or they get a little bit too dependent on the Luka Doncic pick and roll, which is hard to stop. Don't get me wrong. Like, Luka makes all the right decisions, and he can hit step backs from like 30 feet, and he can get what he wants at any time. But I do think the Mavs are too predictable on offense
yo,
sometimes. And I do think with the Clippers, when you have Kawhi, even though sometimes they fall into the your turn, my turn with Paul George, I do think they would have more variety on offense, especially if Harden can be close to regular season James Harden with the pick and roll with Zubac. Like, there's just different ways that the Clippers, I think, could score and attack the Mavericks than it was the opposite direction. I think you lose a lot of that versatility with Kawhi
mm,
out. And with this news coming out, rumored to miss game 1, possibly a game 2, I think the Clippers would have to at least get 1. And this is a home. They're at home. Like, so for me, it's like not even still one in Dallas. It's like you got to like at least get 1 at home. I just don't know how they're going to win the series if they don't uh, hold
do
home
you
court without Kawhi. I just don't see it.
do you think that, let's say hypothetically, the Clippers win game 1 and game 2? Do you think Kawhi is going to come back, or do you
No,
think they're
I
going to
think
hold
you
him
rest
out?
him for game 3.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I'm
I
thinking
mean,
the
I
same.
would
Yeah,
honestly. If you win two in a row in LA without Kawhi, you're playing house money. Roll the dice. I mean,
yeah.
this group without Kawhi seems to be doing good anyway, so you might as well. And if you lose, yeah, we were supposed to lose. And honestly, I'd roll the dice for game 4 too. Like, hey, depending on how if game 3 was like a blowout, Kawhi, you coming back. But if game 3 was just like, yo, like we could have won, but Paul George missed a fadeaway at the buzzer.
Yeah,
Yeah, run it back. Kawhi, you rest. And then if you lose again, it's a best of 3. You have home court. Kawhi's back, and you gave him a extra like 3 or 4 days rest.
gotcha. Yeah.
So yeah. So I mean, as soon as the Mavs win game 1 or 2, to me the series is over without Kawhi, personally. All right, let's move on to the Wolves and Suns. This is a very, very, very interesting matchup to me because I respect the Wolves. I have no respect for the Suns, and everything in my body wants to pick the Wolves here. And everything that I watch and read up and remember about these regular season matchups are like, no, Josh, don't pick the Wolves. So I've gone back and forth with this. I'll tell you who I went with after. But the Suns have been 3-0 versus the Wolves this year. They've kicked the crap out of them, essentially. Kwab, is this just a bad matchup for Minnesota? Like, how do you explain that? A bad matchup? Is it just kind of regular season? don't take it seriously? Like, what is that to you?
I mean, I think it's just the Suns just present like a problem like that a lot of teams are not going to be able to solve, right? You have Bol, full stop. Okay, just
Right,
joking.
right, right. Of course, of course, of
Okay,
course,
okay,
of
I'm back.
course.
No, just when you have they basically have 3 players who are offensive juggernauts. Now, the one complaint about the Suns everybody has had is like they they could use a playmaker. They could use like a traditional point guard or just like somebody that's to kind of get them going when they hit little lulls during the course of a game. That's why a lot of times
Yeah,
they've lost a lot of games in the fourth quarter. But it's like at the same time, it's just they're kind of like, hey, here's the ball, go get a bucket, and it works. And it's been working for them for this long. Where it's just like, hey, just get Katie the ball, and you get to the spot. Get Booker the ball, who gets to her spot. Bradley Beal the ball, who gets to her spot. I wish they would use more like ball movement and screens, especially just to target like mismatches and such, which I feel
yeah,
like they will do against the Timberwolves because the reason why they were able to beat them a couple of times was they went after Mike Conley, like put
yeah,
they put Conley into action and attacked them. So I think it's a bad matchup for the Wolves. It's now, can the Wolves win the series? Yes, they can.
yeah.
I feel like they have enough where if depending on how Cat plays during the course of the series, because I think he's going to be a very big factor in this series. Because who it comes on defensive matchups, you know who Gobert is going to guard, who are you going to put Cat on, and that's gonna be a big factor. That's going to be a big
Grayson Allen.
factor.
No, okay. No, you're right. You're
Yeah,
right. Yeah, man. I think the one thing that the Suns have over the Wolves too, which is like you saw it every year with the Jazz, right? When Rudy Gobert was in the center, where it's just kind of like, we have the best rim protector in the league. And it's like, yeah, well, your rim protection don't mean shit when we're launching fucking threes and mid-range jumpers. Like that don't mean shit. Like, okay, so now you got to guard and close out at threes. Like, it's great to have rim protection, but if you have a team like the Suns that rely on pull-up shooting and spot-up shooting and talent, ISO talent,
and
and not
Midi,
necessarily getting,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, and you have to rotate, and now you have Rudy Gobert rotating out. I was there for Terrence Mann's 40-point game, whatever it was, when the
yeah,
Jazz
that's
got
crazy.
eliminated by the. I was at that game, and just
Yeah,
a lot of people torch Rudy, but it's like, what do you want Rudy to do? His job is to be a rim, protector, and Ty Lue went small, and he had to go rush out, and he just couldn't do it because that's just not it's not what he's made to do. Like,
yep.
he can't do that. So for me, I think that's why the Suns are a particular bad matchup for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Um, also you have all the talent in the world offensively. You have Booker, you have Beal, you have Durant. They're a really hard team to guard when they're sharing the ball and when they're able to play to their strengths. And I feel like they've been able to do that for 3 games at least.
Yeah.
But I do think it's important to ask this question: like, what Suns team are we going to see? Are we going to see the team that shows up against the Kawhi-less? I don't know if Paul George is playing that game, but the Clippers and they lose by like 40, or are we going to see a team that went 3-0 against the Timberwolves? Like, I don't know either. We asked the same question about the Cavs. What do you think about the Suns?
It's playoff time, so they can't if the reason why they got together was to try to win a championship. And the reason
Yeah,
why the owner was just like, yeah, trade everything away. Like, and put this salary dumpster fire together. Like, that's the Suns now, was to win a chip. So the right team needs to show up. The right team that does the right thing needs to show up. That's defensively, that's offensively. So you have enough vets on that team that should be able to get it right. So I feel like it should be the right Suns team that's showing up for this series.
all right. My X factor. This is gonna be weird. It's not a player. It's Frank Vogel.
Mm,
Um, I don't- both
mm.
offensively and defensively. How are you going to coach this series? How are you going to keep your team involved? How are you going to make sure that the right Suns team shows up? Because that's why I'm hesitant. Like, I've kind of believed in the Suns all year. We've had them high in our power rankings at times. I remember when we kind of got into a little bit of a tussle beforehand about the Suns in our preseason power rankings. I wanted them higher than you wanted them because of all the talent. But they've had so many games where they just have fallen short, or where they just look like they're not interested. And because of that, I'm actually picking the Timberwolves in 6 in this one. I don't trust the Suns. I don't care that they're 3-0 against the Wolves. I don't care that they give them bad matchups. The Wolves play harder. They've played harder all year. They're not going to have to like flip a switch and turn it on. I don't care that the Suns went 3-0 against them. I think Anthony Edwards is a superstar. I think having Cat out there is going to help them a lot. You know, the Suns, I don't trust them to play defense consistently throughout a whole game when you haven't shown me that you can do it for stretches of the season. You know, they had a nice stretch in the middle of the season where they won, I think, like 8 or 9 in a row, something like that. I don't know the exact number. But aside from that, man, they've been a pretty average freaking team all year with average level of effort, with inconsistent effort. I can't trust a team like that, man. I think in the playoffs, your true identity comes out and you reveal for yourself who you are. And I trust the Minnesota Timberwolves to play 24/7. How well, that would be freaking weird if a game was 24 hours. But you get my point. I trust the Wolves play hard every game, every possession. And because of that, I got the Wolves winning in 6 here. Kwab, what do you got?
Anthony Edwards, a great philosopher, one time said that they have KD, but we have Jaden McDaniels. Because of that, I have the Suns in 6. So just, yeah, I just feel like the Suns just have is their equation that it's hard to solve.
Yeah.
And
yeah, but they're hard to solve, but it's like it's a hard equation to solve when the equation's on the blackboard, right? But if the teacher shows up and he's like, and he can't put the fucking equation on the board, it doesn't matter. That's my problem with the Suns.
I hear you. I completely understand what you're saying, because it's just like the inconsistency, it's maddening. I just feel like, and you mentioned it before, like the Gobert conundrum with that, like in terms of what matchups is going to be put out on the floor. Like you said, Frank Vogel it's your X factor, just because you wonder how they're going to play offensively, defensively. I wonder how the Timberwolves are going to play offensively, defensively, just because are you going to go with the Twin Towers matchup and try to just be bigger than them and just try to overpower them? But again, the Suns are a perimeter laden team, so they're going to get your points from the 3. They're going to get their points for the mid-range shots. When you have 3 players that are liable to go off, they can go off for like 40 points at any given like moment. It's hard to account for that. And also you have role players that have been playing well, like the Grayson Allens, the Royce O'Neal, and you still have Bobo. You know what I mean? At the end of the day,
you still have Bobo, baby.
Bobo's right there. So when you put Bobo at the 5, what you gonna do? Huh? Like when Shaq's always say, yeah, he's like, yeah, Victor Wembanyama. Nah, Bobo's first. So you have Bobo. Nah, but no, seriously, I feel like the Suns will win this series. I think it's a bad matchup for the T-Wolves. So I had Suns in 6, I want to say.
All right, Kwab, to close the show, let's go pole dancing high.
You know you want it. It's time to go pole dancing. Get your mind out the gutter. We're talking about Twitter polls. My goodness.
All right, this is pole dancing. We put up 3 polls on our Twitter account at The Dime NBA. Our followers and stray Twitter users responded to them, and these were the results, and we're going to discuss them. Kwab, you ready?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Question number 1. Outside of the Nuggets, which team from the West is most likely to make the NBA Finals? Coming in at first was the Dallas Mavericks at 47%.
Wow.
Coming in second at 32% was the Oklahoma City Thunder. And coming in third at 11% were the T-Wolves. Other had 10%. Full disclosure, if Kawhi wasn't hurt, my answer would have been the Clippers.
Yeah.
But now he's hurt, and my answer is I think it's the Minnesota Timberwolves. I know they have a bad matchup with the Phoenix Suns early on, but I just think they play the best brand of basketball outside of the Nuggets than any team in the league. I like the Thunder. I think they're an upcoming team, but I do think they're going to get beat up inside in the playoffs at some point. I think that would be their demise. And the Mavs, as I mentioned before, I just don't trust their offense. I think it's too stagnant. I think it's too reliable and too predictable. And I understand Luka's great and Kyrie's great, but I think that's going to be their downfall as well. So for me, if the Wolves can get past the Suns, which is weird because it's like if they could have had anybody else, I probably would have picked the Wolves. I think they probably have the best chance. Kwab, what do you think?
I think I chose the Thunder on that just because that's just for a personal reason. I would like to see the young team like make the finals. Like I think
That'd be
they're
cool.
fun. Yeah, I mean, it would be a nice little story, but to me, it's probably gonna be. I'll probably say the Suns because I don't see the Wolves stopping them. I don't trying to think of other matchups. And yeah, I just feel like they're in a 7-game series. If being the main word, if that team plays the right way, you're gonna be hard to beat in a 7-game series because of their talent.
All right, question number 2. Outside of the Celtics, which team from the East is most likely to make the NBA Finals? Coming in at first is your New York Knicks at 56%. Coming in at second was other, list below, which no one did. They clicked other. 22% of the people who answered in this poll clicked other and didn't even tell me which ones. And then coming in at third, tied at third, was the Bucks at 11% and the 76ers at 11%. Completely objective. This is not me being a homer, but to me, it's the winner of the Celtics. I mean, it's the winner of the Sixers-Knicks series in my mind, which I think is going to be the Knicks. Don't trust the Bucks at all. The Cavs and Magic to me are fugazi. So it's kind of by process of elimination for me. I think it's the winner of this Knicks 76 series, and I have the Knicks. Kwab.
Oh yeah, I have other, which is the Heat. So there's that.
Come on, bro. Come on. Stop it. Stop it. Stop embarrassing yourself, Kwab. Why do you do this? It's over. He cultures. It's done.
This reaction right there. This is what I need.
God.
Clip that for me.
God, let it die. Fucking let it die, bro.
What do they have on their court? The toughest, roughest, blumpest team in the league. The roughest, toughest.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Whatever you say, Pat Riley. Whatever you say. All right. Question number 3. Are you taking the Nuggets or the field? Coming in at 56%, it's the field. Coming in at 44%, it's the Nuggets. Kwab, personally, I'm taking the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets are the best team in the league. I trust them. They're the defending champions. They have the best starting 5 in the league. Well-balanced, best player in the world. Hard to go against that. If I'm putting money down, it's the Nuggets. What say you?
Cosign. If you put in money down, that's a easy joke I was going to say again, but I already used my Michael Porter Jr. brother joke, so I'm not gonna use it now. But yeah, I chose the Nuggets also. A lot of people, 56% pick the field, which is I can understand. Like it's just a smart bet to pick the field, but yeah, like we always talk about, the Nuggets have the best player in the league and have the perfect starting lineup. So for me, it's the Nuggets.
All right, there you have it. That's going to do it for this episode of The Dime. If you want to follow The Dime on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, you can at The Dime NBA. Make sure you subscribe on our YouTube channel. Make sure you put your notifications on so you get alerted every single time that we drop something. I'm Josh Rodriguez at Josh_Rodriguez_. He is Kwab at Kwab, a.k.a. Yes. I'm going to try to do reactions as much as possible for the playoffs. We'll see how often that is. Definitely want to get the YouTube going. Definitely want to get the podcast feed going as well. So look out for that. And stay tuned for another episode of The Dime. When? I don't know, but stay tuned, baby. We'll be back. Peace.
Peace.